Coming up here on today's show, I'm going to tell you what I believe the Raiders' quarterback situation should look like this offseason leading up to week one. I know Anotnio Pierce Tom Telesco, they got a tough decision to make. Is the Aidan O'Connell going to be the starting quarterback? Is Gardner Minshew going to be the starting quarterback? But you know what? I do want to see a good battle, and I think the best way to be able to settle that battle is the plan that I'm going to be revealing to all of you today. So the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to break it down from now until that week one game against the Chargers. And for those that do not know, we're going to be live for this game. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you tune in. This is going to be a wild, wild day. So for training camp, preseason, all three of the games, I'm going to tell you how many quarters I want Aidan and Gardner to play. I want to tell you how many quarters I want Carter, Bradley, and Anthony Brown to play. My point is, I don't care who the starting quarterback of the Raiders is. I want the guy that gives us the best chance to win football games. And the only way that you're going to do that is by sticking to this plan that I'm going to break down right here. The reasons why you should subscribe to the Raiders Report: we're going to be doing training camp news, update videos every single day. We go live 4 days a week. We're going to be live for every preseason game. We're giving away preseason tickets for those of you watching this live show on Friday. I'm only going to tell you the wild giveaways we're going to be doing during the preseason. We're also going to be live for every regular season game. If you want to hang out with 100,000 Raider fans, think of like 100,000 Raider fans in Oakland. That's what we bring for game day. It's 100% for free, and if you like Chugs and I, it helps us out a lot, so please subscribe. So here we go. Raiders quarterback plan here. We're going to start in training camp, and then we're going to work our way all the way down, and we're going to work our way through the preseason. The way that I would handle training camp is this. I'm going to have Aidan O'Connell. He's going to take the first snap. Why? Because there's no way that you're getting enough reps in May. There's no way you're getting enough reps in June, especially we only had 2 practices in June. Like, to me, if Aidan O'Connell walked in on May as your QB1, he's still your QB1. That's the guy you give your first snap. It's his job to lose. Then, the way that I would break the snaps down is you're going to split reps with Aidan O'Connell for Gardner Minshew. I would almost think of it as like the way that like the GM head coach work, right? Like, I'm going to give, if I got 100 snaps, I'm going to give 51 to Aidan. I'm going to give 49 to Gardner Minshew. And then Carter, Bradley, and Anthony Brown, they're going to compete for that QB3 battle, which I do actually think is going to be a fun battle for like the diehard Raider fans, the real ones out there, because we got a lot of QB battles going down. Will it be the UDFA? Or will it be Anthony Brown? Next thing that we're going to break down here is the way that I think that the Raiders should handle their preseason week 1 game against the Minnesota Vikings. This game is going to be on August 10th, and I'm really excited for this one to go down. My family is going to be watching this one, so please, I hope the nation ends up showing up for this one. My grandfather, unfortunately, he passed away. That's where I got most of these tattoos are for him. His birthday was on August 11th, so I know for a fact this game is going to be a big one for the Renz family. But when you think about the preseason week 1 game against the Minnesota Vikings, okay, there's a lot of questions out there because sometimes your starting quarterback doesn't end up starting in the preseason. Well, what I want to know from the nation is this. Who starts the preseason week 1 game against the Vikings? If it's Gardner Minshew, type GM. If you think it's going to be Aidan O'Connell, type AOC. If you think it's going to be Carter Bradley, give me a CB. If you're going to roll with Anthony Brown, I want you to type AB. Quite frankly, to me, there's only one way that you can go with this one, and it has to be Aidan O'Connell. In fact, the only way Aidan doesn't start the first preseason game is if he's like atrocious at training camp, right? And if Gardner Minshew is just unbelievable. But to me, I'm putting Aidan in, and I want to see what he has to do the first half. Not 1 drive, not 2 drives. If we have a legit quarterback battle, let's let them go out there and let's let them compete, especially against the Minnesota Vikings team that, quite frankly, I think that they're going to do the exact same thing. What I would do then is, no disrespect to Carter Bradley, no disrespect to Anthony Brown. We are adults here, and the job is to just win, baby. The job is to put the best product out there on the field. I'm letting Aidan play the entire first half. I'm letting Gardner Minshew play the entire second half. Why am I doing that? Because we have to figure out what the quarterback battle is, and practice is important. Training camp is important. I'm not trying to get away from it. But at the end of the day, I would rather have a player who shows up on game day who's not as good in practice. If Aidan's bad in practice, but he's great in the games, I want Aidan O'Connell to start. If Gardner Minshew is the exact opposite, I'm still going to roll with Aidan here. And it's, to me, I know that preseason a lot of times to get to work with some of those other players. To me, though, the biggest question mark that I got right now as a Raider fan is it going to be Aidan? Is it going to be Gardner Minshew? Why not let them go out there, get extra reps in a brand new offense with Luke Getsy, with brand new players that they're all around? More reps is what I want. The other reason why I like this idea is because I think the Vikings are going to try to do the exact same thing because they're kind of dealing with a very similar situation. They got a quarterback battle with Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy. Out of all the games that we're going to watch in the preseason, I think that this Vikings game could actually be one of the ones that's like the closest to a real-life NFL game because the Vikings want to figure out who they're going to start at quarterback. And why I'm okay with rolling with Gardner as long as I am because it's still going to be a real-life football situation because who's going to start for the Vikings, Darnold or J.J. McCarthy? It's split, just like AOC and GM. Let's go to the next game here. Preseason Week 2 game versus the Dallas Cowboys, which for me, this one hits home, right? Chugs and I live down in Dallas. I'm surrounded by Cowboys fans, and I can't stand Cowboys fans. My fiance, Cowboys fan. My fiance's family, Cowboys fans. But you know what? I'll still always hold on to that Thanksgiving Day game, man. That one just hit different. But this is a big, big game for me. And for anybody out there that lives in the Dallas area, the DFW area, I'm doing a Raiders meetup on Saturday, July 20th at 1 p.m. Here's the address if you're trying to just pull up. We're going to have food. We're going to have some drinks. Hopefully you guys have a good time. I can't confirm, but there's a chance that a Raiders player's parents, family might end up showing up as well. It's going to be at a Matito's, and I've done an event here. This was like all the way back in 2019 with the old DFW Raiders group. Bottom line is it can be for all ages, kids, wives, boys. I don't care who you are. If you're a Raiders fan, if you watch and you support this show, I would love for you to be able to show up because at the end of the day, I want to be able to interact with y'all. Let's keep it rolling here for what I think the preseason Week 2 plan versus the Cowboys would be. To me, this is a flip-flop, right? This is a game where I'm going to have Minshew, and he gets the start, and he's going to play the entire first half. Then I'm going to have Aidan O'Connell play the entire second half. Sorry again to Carter Bradley. Sorry again to Anthony Brown. If this is about what is the most important, which is figuring out our quarterback competition, then I'm going to let those guys go out there and do it. Dak ain't playing. Dak's not playing in the preseason. Now, usually with the new preseason rules, when it was four preseason games, the third one was the game that usually the starters played the most. Now, with the way that the preseason has gone, it's that second game is where you usually get to see a little bit more of those starters. For the Cowboys, they also have a quarterback battle, and it's going to be a battle that they want to see. Cooper Rush, Trey Lance, a quarterback that they're trying to see. So just like we talked about with the Minnesota Vikings, I could still think that you're going to see a very competitive game where both quarterbacks for the Raiders, they're going to learn a lot about each other. Then, the final game, preseason Week 3 game, August 27th. It's on a Friday against the San Francisco 49ers. This one's also at Allegiant Stadium. The way that I'm doing this one is this, okay? Whoever plays better between AOC and Gardner Minshew, they get a start. I'm putting them in for a drive. And if it's Aidan, he wins the job. And on that first drive, he leads a touchdown drive. You take him out immediately and you go, hell of a job, Aidan. If he struggles a little bit on that first drive, you go, okay, let's give him another drive. I'm giving him 2 drives. I'm giving Aidan 2 drives, and then I say do the exact same thing with Gardner Minshew. If Gardner Minshew's better, you put him in the first drive. My point is I'm giving him 2 extra drives to just get a little bit of extra work. Let's say that that's the first quarter. That's probably what it'll be. First quarter, maybe you bleed in a little bit to the second quarter, and then you let Carter Bradley, you let Anthony Brown play the remainder of the game. My guess is that's 75%. That's how I would break it up, which then leads us to this one. Because after 3 preseason games, remember, cut day is August 27th at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Teams got to go from 91 for the Raiders all the way down to 53. We're technically allowed to keep 54 because of David Ogoa. He's the International Pathway Program player. So what's the Raiders' plan going to be for Week 1 against the Chargers? And this, you might be able to tip the cap here a little bit. We'll see what the Raiders end up doing. I actually don't think it's impossible that you name both Gardner and Aidan the potential captain. I'm not naming a starting quarterback unless it's a clear winner. You know what I mean? Where it's like, this guy's clearly been the best guy. He's got to be the guy. He's earned that right. If it's the battle that I think it's going to be, which quite frankly, I think the quarterback battle between Gardner and Aidan is going to be neck and neck. the entire time. It's going to be like a duck race, right? We're not going to know who's going to win. But I'm not naming that starting quarterback until I absolutely positively have to. Why? I want to make Jim Harbaugh in an NFL game for the first time in a very long time. I want to make our division rival prep for both QBs. I want them to prep for AOC. I want them to prep for Gardner. Why? Two totally different quarterbacks, and I think it gives us a competitive advantage, and I'm trying to get a competitive advantage every single day of the week, right? So at the end of the day, man, like, I want the Raiders to do this. I know that it might be difficult because when you name a captain, if Aidan's a captain and Gardner's not a captain, my mindset's instantly going to go to, you know what, Aidan's probably the starting quarterback. But I'll also say this. If you were to tell me one situation in the NFL right now that a quarterback who's not the starting quarterback is a captain and the guy that's not the captain is the starter, I think it's the Las Vegas Raiders, and I think that they can use that a little bit to their advantage because I think the quarterback that's the most deserving of to be a captain, it's Aidan O'Connell, not Gardner. So in conclusion here, we do have a legit quarterback battle, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds, and to me, that's how we have to figure it out. What Anotnio Pierce Tom Telesco need to do from here on out is figure out who that quarterback is because we got a brand new offense. We can't have another struggling year like we did last season, and I don't care how long it takes. Whoever plays the best, it's your job. I don't care what. If Carter Bradley plays the best, put him in, starting quarterback. Training camp is important, but preseason games to me are more important. That old Allen Iverson, right? Practice. We're talking about practice. Practice is important. But playing is what's most important. I think for the Raiders, you also got to satisfy Davante Adams. You got to make sure that he's a happy individual, especially for those of y'all been watching that Netflix series. He has not been happy with the quarterback play. You got to make sure that that's the guy that he wants and that he's happy. And the way that I think Davante is going to care, the way that I'm going to care is this. The way that you play, if you're better in the game, you deserve to start. And I mean, this is exactly what Davante Adams had to say on the Raiders quarterback battle. I want whoever's going to look the best when it's time. When it's live bullets. So at the end of the day, I don't have a preference other than the fact that I want somebody that's confident and ready to go when it's time to do it. So whoever that is, that's who I want throwing the ball. You know what, man? The shit that Davante's had to deal with at quarterback, the shit that we've had to deal with from head coach, quarterback play last season, with how good this defense is, I agree with Davante. I want live bullets. I want the guy that's been the best in the preseason. If that's the closest thing we got, then that's how we're going to settle this quarterback debate. That's the plan I have put together. AP Telesco, hopefully you liked it. And if you guys made it this far in the video, hopefully you guys appreciate it. Hit that like button down below.